Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a little Propagandacast Addendum with me, your host, Imperial Dane, with a bit of a particular topic. And of course, I'm not sure this is going to be interesting for everybody, but I like Total War games, I like Warhammer Fantasy, and of course, we got the upcoming Warhammer Total War or Total War Warhammer. I mean, really, the naming convention is just childish. You just call it Total Warhammer or something like that. The kind of one you Total War Warhammer is absolute bollocks, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm about to talk about is a bit more specific. Recently, they basically said, okay, we're getting this game out in April, great. We also got your pre-order bonus. This is where things become less great, but let's sort of specifically talk about it first. What is the pre-order bonus here they basically decided to grant us mere mortals? Well, basically, we get to a 5th army. Chaos. Great, 5th army. Amazing, we initially only promised, Empire, Dwarves, Vampire Counts, and the Orcs. Great, we get a 5th one, but of course at the same time, that's a bit the issue. This is basically the big bad of the game. This is Chaos, which for those who aren't quite aware of it, is basically sort of, again, the big evil force, and which in terms of, Warhammer Fantasy sort of actual lore, because the game is going to be separate from that, basically ends the world. That's really the scale we're talking about here again. These are the guys that end the world. Just to sort of, give you an idea as to sort of what situation there we're dealing with. Again, they end the world. That's it. Game over. I mean, they are basically the evil force. They are the force that caused everybody else, including the other bad guys who are pretty bad guys, to band together with the good guys to have a chance of surviving. And they're a pre-order bonus, Great Ender Worlds, Archeon, so on, title of a lot of nasty things there. What we get there is a pre-order bonus. Not only does it cheapen it, there's of course also the other part behind it. And you might ask, what kind of part is that, Imperial Dane? What surely more can there be to it? Because here's the thing, they're essentially already in the game. They were already set up as being sort of the big bad for otherwise in the game, meaning they've already made all the army for it. Basically, the only thing they need to add to sort of make it for a campaign, by the way, is, some campaign stuff on the other side, some voice acting, and that's it. It's essentially, again, just taking 1/5 of the content, again, or close to 1/5, maybe 18-19% either way, and locking that away as a pre-order bonus. And of course, afterwards, if you don't pre-order, you have to, buy it separately. And again, that's, where it sort of moves into, blackmail territory. That's basically saying, sure, if you got any morals and you don't want to pre-order, great, but, if for some reason you really want to play it, you have to pay extra, unless, of course, they cave in under severe pressure. But otherwise, this is the sort of thing you obviously see, as a joke on a meme, this is cut off. And here we got the actual example. Almost 20% of the game cut off, and you're not really seeing the same amount of hysteria as you might see during the whole bit with Deus Ex and its augmented your pre-order and the other stuff. But here we literally got them putting away 20% off the game, and you don't really see that much of a vast response to it. It's not like people are making that huge of a fuss about it, which does strike me as a bit peculiar. And again, to me, it's straight up blackmail. I'm not going to pre-order, and sure, I'll be punished for it in the end, unless again Sega caves and creators simply caves, but it's just really bad. They could have turned into a great surprise, like, oh hey, 5th faction, great stuff for everybody. Even more reason to actually pre-order and get the game. Even if you can't afford to pre-order right away, you can always get it afterwards and still feel, nicely treated. They rather turn that around, didn't they? It's sort of now, oh hey, you have to pre-order, otherwise, well, it's going to hurt in your bottom. That, isn't really nice now, is it? And again, it also sets a bad precedent. Imagine, if Sega then decides, oh well, if it works for Warhammer Total War, why won't it work for, say, Dawn or War 3 when we put that out? Let's say, we take away the Space Marines, they accepted Chaos. Space Marines, that's basically, putting away Chaos is the equivalent of, well, putting away the bloody Space Marines. They aren't, the lizard people who aren't exactly wildly popular or interesting. It's Chaos. So that's, it's it's rather poor behaviour, you know. It's rather taking advantage of things in a rather short-sighted manner, to be honest, because they end up, you know, punishing everybody else. I mean, that's really, you know, wanting pre-orders so badly. You're willing to burn down a lot of bridges in the process, which strikes me, you know, is not very nice. And again, you know, it also just fosters more interest in maybe just getting all those bigger package deals, because again, you know, I mean, again, there's no real reason to not to. I mean, again, why are you going to get Chaos then if you didn't get the pre-order? And again, that's just going to drive down the prices further. They're going to force them to sort of, you know, have to put it on sale faster. But again, it's just also the precedent of it. I mean, again, imagine, you know, companies 3. You know, Germans put away as a pre-order. Great. Or Soviets or Allies or whatever, you know. I mean, really, it's just bad. And again, we're talking a nice chunk of the game here. Just locked away. And again, had it just been something else, you know, I'd say some sub-factions, because they got that. I mean, look at the Total War Attila, which again, really think, again, just feels like a test run for Warhammer, you know, Total War, or Total War Warhammer. I'm just going to call it Warhammer Total War because that flows better, personally. I mean, again, that was test run. Again, sub-factions, it's great, you know, we aren't sort of cut up from the main faction, you know, just extra stuff if things don't be nice, but, you know, nothing, it's not going to feel like, you know, really vital or huge change in gameplay. But again, Chaos is, I mean, going to play completely different from the Empire, and, you know, no. Not if you, unless you pre-order. And again, that's, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, blackmail. And again, you're just basically saying, if you don't pre-order, you have to pay even more. I mean, it just feels like old Monty Python sketch, you know, where they're just smiling and you can just see the money ringing up if you don't immediately strike on it. So, I mean, you know, I'd rather see, you know, some more pressure here on Sega for it, and that's also why I'm making this video, hoping perhaps that creates just a bit more pressure, a bit more, you know, reason for them to just go, you know, fuck it, this isn't worth it, let's just give it up then, hopefully it works, you know, instead of, you know, just trying to wring as much cash out of our customers, and perhaps treating with a bit of respect, because, you know, this is just poor behaviour. Really, and again, it just sort of sours the whole Warhammer Total War thing when they just, you know, go, oh, hey, about that, you know, we have this extra deal, which we technically, you know, already have in the game. We added a bit of extra, and now we're just charging, you know, extra unless you pre-order. Yeah, so, I mean, that rather, you know, covers it for me in that sense. Again, I'm probably not going to pre-order unless they change, and yes, I know, sort of be, you know, punished for it, but, I don't know. Kind of just want to, you know, make a stand, tell them to go kiss a dachshund or something, rather than this. And, you know, again, hopefully this results in something, again, some pressure, figuring out something. If it doesn't, you know, well, I'll take the full brunt of the consequences, but, you know, I'd rather make an attempt here, because, again, if not, the precedent is going to be bad, and we're going to see, you know, affect other Sega games, like, you know, again, Company of Heroes, perhaps, Dawn of War 3. And here's the question, do we really want that? Personally, no. So yeah, I mean, if you've got a pre-order and you're happy with it, again, stick with it. If you're considering pre-ordering and this might sway you, great. And of course, again, if you pre-order, make things, might you want to know, hey, this is actually kind of bad, I want to cancel your pre-order, great. I'm not trying to force it, I'm just trying to, you know, maybe enlighten and get some more perspective for people on this, you know, just to sort of avoid, well, again, this becoming actually worse down the road, because I do fear if this isn't halted, it will become worse. So, there you go, just a little video from me on this, perhaps a bit of a rant. Hopefully it has been educational, hopefully it has given you a bit of better idea of what this is and what this could mean for you down the road. If it did, you know, feel free to like it, share it with your friends and so on, and of course also subscribe and so on. So thank you all for watching this if you did, most appreciated, and again, my apology for taking your time, but again, I did feel like this was a bit of a vital topic. So thank you all, and see you another time. Bye.